Let's take a quick look at a couple of books that you may want to stay away from. Stay tuned. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples. And the first example we're going to look at is almost a no-brainer in a lot of respects. I am specifically talking about Detective Comics issue number 359, the first appearance of a new Batgirl, also known as Barbara Gordon. And part of the reason why I say this is a book that you potentially want to avoid is because of the news that has come out that DC Warner Brothers has canceled this movie. As you all know, a big driver behind values, for better or worse, happens to be movies being released, TV shows, things being optioned. And the cancellation of a movie, especially one that is near completion, is not necessarily a good thing. And at the moment, I don't think that we have clarification as to why this movie was canceled, but it has been. And again, this may be a book that we want to avoid right now because potentially the value of this book will come down in the near term. So we're going to look at the 6.5. And part of the reason for that is that there are a healthy number of copies of this book on the census, a healthy number of sales. You can see that there is an FMV as well as 1 year, 90-day, and 30-day information. Let me make that a little bit bigger. See if I can do that so that folks can maybe see that a little bit better. But there is some 30-day data here, so we want to go ahead and take a look at that. And as we pull up the data here, what we see in looking at the Blue Label 6.5 is you can see a little bit of a nice little horizontal line. There are a few blips here, but the most recent sale for this book in July, and I don't know, July 20, the 26th is the date that we have here. I do believe that that's the date. You have about a sale of about $1,900. If you back up a little bit, the book in May was around 2,000, and in March it was going for around 1,600. So you can see what's happening with the trend here: 1,800 at 1 year, 1,900 at 90-day, and the 30-day average is about 1,680. My general feeling here with this book is, we still see this horizontal line, trend line. I don't think that we're seeing the impact of the news that has been announced as of late regarding the movie. I don't think that we're seeing the impact of that news on the value of this book just yet, because again, we are looking at a lot of data, not in real time. It is all hindsight data. And this sale from July 26th was actually on Heritage for, again, 1,600. So yes, it is down from where it was earlier in the month at 2,100. But again, I don't think that we're seeing the full impact of this news coming out. I think that there is some potential for the value of this book to decline. So I want to back up here real quick, and I want to look at an additional example. This is the 5.0. Again, a healthy number of copies on the census, 232. FMV sitting at around $1,000, and the 30-day is slightly above that FMV. So let's go ahead and click on that and see what we see here. And you can see that this book was pretty expensive back in October of 21. It was going for about $1,900. Had a little bit of a fall off, but again, you see that horizontal line here. The last little bit for most of this year. It started out earlier this year at around $900 and is presently sitting at about $1,020. So again, most recent sale on this book was 8/2, which was a couple of days ago. And again, I don't know that the impact of the cancellation of the movie has been felt just yet. This will be a book that I'll be keeping my eye on. It's a book that I honestly want in my collection, but have not picked up for different reasons. And in the near term, this could be a great opportunity to pick this book up at a reduced cost. So again, one that I would potentially stay away from for the moment. So let's go ahead and look at another example. And to some degree or another, my justification for staying away from this one is very similar to the first one. With this one, Fantastic Four, issue number 4. This is the first Silver Age appearance of Namor. And part of the reason why I'm saying we may want to stay away from this book is because Namor is going to be in a movie, the upcoming Black Panther movie. And for that reason, this is one that we potentially want to stay away from because values may be a little higher than they should be. I want to first look at the 5.5. Not a ton of copies of this book out there. I mean, generally speaking, there are 1,600 graded copies out there. 1,300 of them are actually Blue Label. So not a ton ton of copies out there, just generally speaking, but we're going to look at the 5.5 because there are 93 copies on the census and 53 sales in the near term. Book has a pretty high FMV of $9,200. And you can see it's 30 day is at about $10,000 for a 5.5. So let's go ahead and look at this real quick and see what we see. And you notice there that trend line is headed in the upward direction. Back in 2020, this book was selling for around $3,000. And as of July the 27th, this book is sitting at about $10,000. And you can see the trend line, the one year all the way up to the 30 day. Again, this is potentially a book that folks might want to hold off buying. When you drill into some of the data, you see some of the variation, if you will, with some of the sales that is happening here. But definitely an upward trend on this book, and one that I personally will stay away from until after the movie comes out and this thing starts to cool down, because this book is definitely hot. Let's take a look at maybe one more example from the FF series. Let me try to see if I can back myself up here. We're going to look at maybe the 4.5. Let's look at the 4.5. There is 110 copies out there, 52 sales, and this one does have some 30-day data to give us some insight here. And you see a similar trend line, maybe a little flatter on the backside, but as of late, specifically on the 23rd of July, this book was selling for $5,100, a high of $6,600 back in August of 2021. But again, this book is holding value from the 1 year to the 30 day. When we look at some of the data, man, that book, woof, in December of 21, there was a best offer on a book that was $7,500. I'm pretty sure that they did not pay that. But I would like to go maybe check out later how much they actually did pay for that book. But this one's a little off, if you will, because it was pretty high, and it's a little flat now. Definitely not what we were seeing with the 5.5. So let's look at one other quick example here. We're going to look at the 4.0. There's 135 of these on the census, 49 sales, FMV of $5,000. 30-day average is sitting at $5,500. So definitely higher than the FMV. And again, you see a different kind of trend line here. This book is definitely on the upward trajectory, a little slower. In December 21, the book was selling for about $5,000, and now we're looking at about $5,500. You can see that play out here in the trend data. Again, a book that I would potentially stay away from until we are on the backside of that movie. So let's look at another example here, and again, similar argument for this book here. We are specifically talking about The Boys issue number 1, and this is a book from Dynamite that I keep hoping that I'm going to find in the 100K collection, but alas, no luck locating this one. But this is the first appearance of the Butcher and several other characters from the Boys series. And part of the reason why I say to stay away from this book is because season 4 of the Boys has been renewed. I think that the writer announced that they are aggressively writing this upcoming season, and we think that they're going to be filming, at least the data says, in August. And so if you have not seen The Boys, treat yourself. This is a fantastic TV show on Amazon. But let's scroll down, and we're going to look at the 8.9. Again, for a newer book like this, I prefer a 9.8. But again, everybody has to figure out where their line is. But when you look at this one, what you see is that this book is selling for just at the end of July for $545. You can see that that's definitely up from where it was in June at $402, tracking back just a little bit. Let's see where it was in January of 2022. This book was $405. And now in July, it is $545 again. As you look here at one of the more recent sales, at the end of the month for July, someone paid $700 for that book. A couple of days before that, $675. A day before that, $549. Again, you can see what's happening there. This book, even though it is not terribly expensive, it is selling for a nice chunk of money, and as of late, selling above its FMV of $525. Again, this is a book that I would potentially stay away from. I don't know where this one ends. I'll be completely honest with you. And I say that because The Boys TV series is incredible. It is incredibly well done. Has a ton of interest. And if that interest continues, we could see additional seasons of The Boys coming out, which means that potentially this book will not cool down. But what I will tell you is that if you are in a position to be able to pick up any of these books at a really great price, then all bets are off, right? But if you are picking it up in the open market, then potentially this is not the time to snag some of these books, just because of some of the things that I've highlighted in this video. All right, with that said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed this installment of Don't Buy These Books. If there are books that you're interested in having me take a look at, be certain to leave those comments behind in the comment section, and maybe your book will be highlighted in a future video. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.